After stitch welding seams in the upper rear half of the car, I shifted my attentions below the rear floor to the rear suspension pickup points. I want to reinforce them. Irish tarmac rallying is very bumpy, and you often get little bumps in the middle of corners, so you can get an awful lot of side load into the suspension, which it's not really built for. So I want to prepare it for those type of shocks. Although I've been playing with these cars for over 25 years, this area was still a little bit of a mystery for me, a bit of a grey area. I never really appreciated how the rear suspension and that kind of outrigger that runs its way to the back of the suspension on, how it actually springs off the sill. So the car is basically a H, or kind of a ladder, or shall we say a H with two crossbars structure, with the floor in the middle of that. So this is the right hand hinge point for the rear trailing arm. So this is a really important structural point, and want to make it as strong as possible. Needed the wire wheel on the drill to get into this little pocket between it and the outside of the body, and also for this bit behind that cup that holds the top of the spring. To get into this, which is the real dark area that I didn't really know before, because there's so much sealant in there as well. It's always kind of an unknown area. I needed to use the handle on the grinder. There was so much drag getting into that corner, and of course your arms go weak when you're working upside down. It was a relief to be topside again for a minute, and I'm doing that because I now appreciated that the floor below the rear seat ends flat on top of the box section of the sill, and strengthening this join improves the structure of the entire chassis rail going towards the back. There's a little bit behind this hump where neither the drill or the grinder could get in, so I had to scrape it away with the screwdriver, and then just clean it off with the wire brush. So you can see that little join there. So I have two rows of stitch welds going back, one helping the quarter panel to build into the structure, and one where the floor makes up some of that strength. So a few little welds along here. Going back to that intermittent technique, because there's still a little bit of contamination in the joins, and just helps working on such light metal to pulse the welder. So really glad I put in that bolt now for that seatbelt pickup point. So I'll start welding underneath now, just following along where that chassis rail meets the floor. So this is strengthening the inside of that chassis rail, and the work I did topside recently strengthens the outside of it, where I welded on the top to the inside of the wheel arch and the quarter panel, so covering both sides of it. It's a little bit of a challenge working underneath, and it's a tight space to crawl around in. But I feel good about having this strength. It'll be in my mind when I'm cornering hard that my rear trailing arm is well attached to the car. Working away on both sides of this, and the cleaner I can get it, the better the welds I'll get. Very happy with this shell. It's in really good condition. It's a great starting point. Welding the inside of the trailing arm pickup point on the rear right, and now the outside of it looking back. I then did the same work on the other side, completing the stitch welding and seam welding of the car.